And welcome back to Super Metroid. Last time there was some exploration of Green Star area of Zibis, and now it is more exploration of very other areas of the same planet. But I would wonder, how did it's a bit of a plot hole? How did Samus know to head towards Zebes? I would wonder, is it something that it would have been the closest space pirate facility she close to the Ceres station, or what it was? But that was the size of the crate as it originally appeared. Jumping over here, blasting through that wall. And there's a energy recharge and missile station. All of it very suspiciously high, underlining that, yep, you are approaching a big boss monster. Better be prepared. And there's a Federation, seems like a Federation agent over there. And he doesn't look too healthy, actually he looks more like dead. Like that, opened a little path forward, so let's just open the door. We're stuck inside. Yep, and something big is coming up. And compared to the size of the original crate, that thing is above and beyond massive. But the basic plot is tactic of the fight is to damn it, is to shoot it to the face, which makes it eye blink, and it hurts great. And while it's at it, despite Great being that big, it's still the fact that very much fighting. Now I don't know exactly what kind of technical trickery Nintendo used to make Great that boss, but I would say that you can clearly see that Great was very big boss monster when it appeared, and it went down. It got shut down. Not that dramatic death, but its size and appearance are very dramatic. So, first big boss is down and out and down for count, and there's something new in here. The Varia suit, which is named Varia because, well, first. Because if I recall right, it was originally named Barrier suit, but because of the translation of the early ages of video gaming was quite spotty, you could say, and that would be quite a generous judgment about its quality. It would be kind of, you could say, obvious. That kind of misspellings would have been very common. And once I now look about Samus's stat boosts, if I take off the Varia suit, it notices that, yep, Samus actually gets a little bit strange, different look, including the famous shoulders of Doom, which were a result of Game Boy. At the original Metroid, there was a color change because it was NES and it had colors, but Metroid 2, Return of Samus, how this remake had well, it didn't have color, so there had to be a method. They would need to have a method to show that Samus is now a bit different. So they added a bit of shoulder pad to her sprite then. And that explains why Samus gets her famous shoulder pads of doom, death, destruction, pain when she... And that blastings... There it was. A secret energy tank. Now I have 3. There's quite many of them. They are quite well hidden. Usually way more better hidden than the missile tanks. They are practically everywhere. Missile tanks are practically everywhere, but the health tanks are much more rare in numbers and availability as well. But Various suit does have extra function, as it now allows Samus to start traversing these hot, vibrating, I don't know, could I put these vibrating proper term, but well, these undulating background wall rooms, which Norfair has, Samus can now start traversing them. This was the first one to actually get there. Starting to explore. Yeah, the area looks hot and it has different enemies in it. Of course, the original Metroid did not have any differentiation between different temperature areas. It had just area. But now it's going to be quite clear what that. Yep. Way more complex gameplay mechanics and designs could be made use, and Nintendo was then quite eager to make use of that. Can we make this? Yes, we can. So add it in. Do we need it for the game, full game? Maybe not, but add it in. Still they were just throw it in. Plenty of different mechanics that they just added in because they could. Like I have there's quite very difficult, if not impossible, to figure out which of them were basically glitches and which were deliberately added special features to hidden. I think at least some of them might have been something that this is an interesting little glitch. Let's make use of it. But still, jumping in lava or magma or whatever that hot stuff is down there does damage Samus. So she is not fully heat proof. At least not yet. Original Metroid had quite a lot of this kind of rooms, in which you just had to jump through with all these little edges. It had all these dragon-like things, which are quite dangerous. But luckily, at least in comparison to the original one, Samus can jump and maneuver way better than she could in that one. But still, that wasn't particularly pleasant experience to go through. So much, all kinds of different areas to get through. The same room, let's make use of it. Just in case I suffer a untimely or timely demise. Oh yeah, there's bombs in that area. Let's get this first, just to make sure. Yep, and with proper timing, bombs can be used to propel Samus across quite vast amounts of distance. Oh, there was a missile tank over there. I think I'm gonna go and... Looks like I can't really conveniently get through there. So let's just pass through that wall. Special over here, at least yet, not yet. But I do feel that Super Metroid does have a little bit suffering from the fact that there's a little bit of, you could say, just a short distance to see down, meaning that these drops are way more harrowing and frightening because you really don't see as well forward going down as you could in any other direction. Trying to get through this room of lava with those lava spouting monsters in it. But once again, Samus is just trying to get forward. So just, and now it's the room of rising and falling lava. And some enemies spew fires and look quite ugly and creepy. That kind of I would say almost quasi-alien design is quite common in games like this, and a little bit of a platforming challenge. Oh, not like that. Yeah, Samus could just tank right through that, although I don't personally feel confident enough about that. Basic, grab some items, stuff. Yeah. Yeah, this is a interesting little room, but I'm not that interested in getting there yet. And of course, whenever you do, you will always figure out that there's a not using these. But I did get the missile tank from here. Yeah, I'm losing my big ammo quite a big, or better say, using it quite liberally, and those big blocks over there were something that I really couldn't not traverse them, so I didn't even bother. I just instead of take the missile tank. Getting through here, and now I'm at this room. Again, this time I had to take a big loop over here to figure out the place, and there's more of those little special bricks that I can make use of. Yeah. Now there was a breakable wall, of course, but it was kind of tricky looking. And And a room to run through. Yeah, just run through this room. And that would be it. And that would be a new special item boost for Samus to have. The speed booster. It allows Samus to run, and magma is rising real fast, so time to show what this can do. It makes Samus run with a eye-watering speed. And that is exactly what you could say one of the new and more iconic and important special abilities Samus has. This special ability now allows Samus to do a bit of another little crypt that the gameplay in this genre often tends to follow the quite established pattern that go to specific location, note that there's some kind of obstacle that you can't get past, so you start wandering around. You're gonna eventually find a power-up with your current power-ups that allows you to then traverse that little obstacle which was just placed in front of you and get through it. It could be something that you need a specific gun and you don't have it yet, but now you can have it. Then you just should break down the wall or whatever there is and you get through it. So many more of that kind of little trickeries and gameplay design features, which I think that at this phase of the medium's history was quite new. It was not unseen, but you could say the robustness and thoroughness that Super Metroid had about that kind of design made it, you could say, quite much above its peers, and also explains why this genre is called Metroidvania. Because, well, original sequel Castlevania 2 also had similar, you could say, features of gameplay, but it didn't execute them that robustly. It was actually kind of messy. And same with original Metroid. It had the idea was there. But it wasn't that strongly made. So they were, you could say, very interesting experimentally, but not that you could say interesting as much as gameplay is concerned. That there was lots of wonkiness and weird design choice present in those games, which wasn't, you could say, that good for those games to be considered really great. But another little of these kind of suspicious side rooms to wonder, and some enemies coming out from the walls, which is very suspicious, telling that, yep, something's over there. That time we jump into this room. Which I really can't go because those little things are. Alright, now it is demands a bit of extra. Oh, not like that. Not like that. Like this. Into this very not that hidden room, which is not that hidden because you need to get through it to get perhaps the most iconic extra weapon Samus has, the ice beam. It can freeze enemies, that is its function. And it also has quite unpleasant sound. And not only it can freeze enemies, it can freeze enemies, but there's another little function that you're gonna get soon demonstrated by it about its value. Okay, now those things are jumping. You can frozen enemies are platforms, can be used as platforms. And that is the special function that Ice Beam has. And that is also and additionally, in addition of freezing the enemies, Ice Beam also has the the freezing is the most important part, as it is the you could say secondary effect it has. I'll just start to go a bit downwards. Was it this direction that I needed to go? Yep, as more observant reviewers might be noticing that, yep, I'm now starting to get a bit more messy about where should I go. There would be obvious route would be to just now try to head towards Brinstar and try to climb the big shaft I couldn't previously climb with all those little critters around it. That would be the most obvious route to go back and do some backtracking there that way and open that way. But I'm not yet gonna do that. I'm still doing some like that. This room also is something that, yep, if you had not come here, had super dash before, you could not have gotten through this room. But with that, you can just run right through it without any kind of effort. I had previously come to this location, so that means I found the proper route to go to. Alright. That one I can't get through because I don't have the proper beam. But at least I kind of opened a bit of a, you could say, almost shortcut or something like that to get through into this area now. I can now get a nice... Let's just go right here. Drop down. That room was nothing, just go right here. And this room becomes much easier now that as I can just freeze all these unpleasant microsphere critters and use them as platforms. And how in hell could they are not taking serious damage from being frozen and then immediately thawing into most likely quite hot conditions of nowhere. Yeah, that's a place I can't get into. It is something that it's one of the quirks of Medium that, yep, things may endure this kind of horrifying level of abuse, but not this kind of horrifying level of physical abuse. Nothing here as well either. You know where that's supposed to be going. Just look at the map again. Oh yeah. Put that guy in ice. Those in ice as well, just to make that maneuvering a bit easier. So once again, yep, it's riveting to watch going through this location again, but it's a case of this being quasi-blind playthrough. I am definitely not familiar of this game's quirks and weird quirks and special tricks it has. It's does quite a potent damage, you could say. Super Missile does even more. So I would say that if the purpose is to just wipe out the enemies as fast as possible, I would say that using missiles is quite, let's say, rational choice. But with difficult not yeah. Alright. That it was not a difficult maneuver to do. Oh, and I got another pair of missiles. Right. Oh yeah, that was tricky. Got a bit confused about what was the trick in here. Here I got the one special item called Reserve Tank, which is basically you could say, energy tank of the Super Metroid, meaning that once you got it, it's gonna do like that. And let's put it on auto, keep it on auto mode, meaning that once when your things takes a lethal strike, she can basically just rug off enemy. Alright. You can then just rug off the enemy attack and just walk away. I say that in matters of raw damage, the ice beam actually reduces it because it's a matter of getting making enemies take one hit more because of they being frozen. But in terms of utility and what you can do with it, it's quite obvious that the ice beam is very much of a winner. But I have ice beam and I have the speed booster, so I would say that it might be time to start running towards that little shaft in Brinstar that we previously get into. Because now the game is starting to be a bit more complex. Of that where you have to go part of the game. It does get, I would say that this might be the more challenging part of the game regarding that gameplay design, but it does get easier once you get further in the game. At this place, the exploration is still very much the key of the game. So, meaning that the getting maneuvers and different kind of use of your special items is more important than trying to get proper areas. Or better say, trying to get forward to find the proper keys and areas is more important than proper area finding and finding the special first abilities is more important now. So, but I would say that so far Norfair has not given itself any other information than being a big hot cave. But I would say that with quite little bit of, you could say, getting hit by quite little bit of space pirate equipment and tools and weaponry lying around, but which might be compared to generally because looking at Meridia and looking at Brinstar, which had much more effect. And of course, that little tunnel is also a clear thing that, yep, space pirates have built quite lots of all kinds of tools and equipment in this place, on this planet. I would say the same as his previous excursion to this planet didn't cause as much damage as she hoped to cause, that which is a complete destruction of them. Although it did destroy their leadership, although how Great survived is unknown, and because, well, it wasn't yet at this phase of the Metroid franchise that Ridley would become the most iconic and important recurring character, especially as a recurring enemy. That it would start to become, you could say, the most iconic and recognizable monster of the whole franchise. But now with the high jump boots, I can just maneuver up all this big shaft. And with Ice Beam, I can also now beat the enemies and get through without any problem. Without Freeze Beam, it would have been quite much impossible to get through that. And once again, with these little, say, tricky maneuvers, jumpings, get through the area. And that thing is a danger. But luckily Samus can just tank these big. Even at this phase, the environmental hazards tend to be of the not that serious kind. And I would say that it is not that kind of, you could say, truly big issue. Now this room has another little extra special upgrade item, the power bomb, capable of causing massive, truly massive explosions, and it causes damage to basic enemies quite effectively. But it isn't. Come on. This room had a special secret. Oh yes, it did. It was right here. I looked at the wrong direction of the special secret. I should have remembered that it's gonna blast that wall open. There was another room which has that kind of plant that you can just get through, but this wasn't it. But it still was you could say, is quite nice little show of what the power bomb is capable of doing. It is, as much as the game's story goes, it is the most powerful weapon in Samus's arsenal. As much as you could say localized general destruction goes, which of course the game mechanics from 2 really don't show exactly how insanely dangerously powerful weapon it is. But I'm spoiling the sequel of this game in timeline, Metroid Other M, in which the super bomb is the final weapon. I'm gonna say that it's the final upgrade that Samus gets in the base game, and that's right at the final boss itself. So, oh yeah, this was the room I mentioned about. It says that this room has a special. And a special drop route to get here. And another pair of power bombs. They are. You don't really use them that much. They can be used to try to find special. They work great when you try to find special items. Basically, clear the room to figure out where you're supposed to be going. Let's just get up here and see into another area of the game. Oh yes, in this room you need the power bomb to open it. So it would be it's a nice little tutorial once again to show that yep, power bombs open doors and there was nothing else in it. Once again, I have found Samus finds herself in planet surface, which does have quite numerous amount of space pirate buildings in it. So let's just look about the map, and I noticed that I'm at the other side of the wall. And a nice little tunnel that the space pirates have cut through the mountain area. Why? I don't know, but it's a nice little piece of environmental storytelling that this game is quite full of. And the rain at the beginning of the game has also ended, so. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and Samus can do also these kind of really big jumps with it. But I guess it would be time to actually show that Samus' ship can be used to save. And she goes down, and it also refills her completely, and I can save as well. This time Samus is still doing the pose, so I'll be ending the episode next time.